Hey YouTube, how you going? Welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be exploring some of the functionality that I might want to build in a Zettelkasten-like application. If you've watched my previous videos exploring different startup ideas, this is an idea that I came up with, and if you're not familiar with Zettelkasten, it's basically a series of taking atomic notes from information that you consume, and then you add this to your kind of body of knowledge, and over time you create this large collection. I think if system. This is kind of good little overview of it. Now look, I don't want to just cut and paste the Zettelkasten system. I want to take some inspiration from this. But if I can find, maybe it wasn't here. There was a good image. Yeah, essentially you have each note, essentially, which is the title of the note, some tags, the body, and then also the source. And then that means that over time, kind of like what we were documenting here, is that if you tag these different things, so this is one book, this is another book, this is a YouTube video, this is a podcast, but across these different things, we've tagged it with the word protein in this instance, you then build up this body of knowledge. Now, as I said, I don't want to just cut and paste a Zettelkasten system. I want to take inspiration from this. And I thought I would start here because although this might not necessarily be the main idea I want to pursue with this startup, I really want to test out, with what we've learned, how quickly and easily it is to build this new functionality. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I focus predominantly on the authentication system, like user registration, login. And in the previous video to this one, maybe one or two videos back, I kind of leveraged that as a submodule, and now building on top of that. So I'm not really great at so to explain a submodule, hopefully this link does a good job. Is there a little diagram? No, there's not. But essentially what a submodule allows you to do is have, yeah, I guess kind of like this. So you have this common code. That's not a good example. That's not what I'm doing. We're going. Okay, yeah, this is probably a better representation. So basically my submodule is my user registration login functionality, and then off the back of that I can now build different projects. So project one could be this Zettelkasten system. Anyway, the purpose of this video is not to talk about that. The purpose of this video is to think about like what kind of functionality we actually can have in this kind of application. And if you've watched my previous videos, you may have seen where I was chatting back and forward to ChatGPT, and you know, we kind of came up with this being some of the key functionality: ability to create a note, ability to tag that note. In the future, have AI summarize my understanding, or whoever is using the system's understanding of a topic based on all of the notes that they have, the ability to index notes, add separate data sources, etc., etc. So now what I want to do though is try and document this, and then work with, in this case, ChatGPT to see where we might have some gaps in our thinking. So I think to do that, probably what we need to do is just come over here and create a new page, and we'll call this Zettelkasten app idea. And if we think about this, you know, what's the basic premise of this application, and that's the ability to take notes. So we need the ability to create notes, and then under this, you know, each note has a title, a body, tags, and this body or description, tags, and sources. Now, each source, actually, when we think, so we need the ability to create notes. When we create a note, we either need to be able to create a note with a new source, or if a source already exists, link a new note to an existing source. Right? So for example, I read a book for the first time, and I want to save one note from that book. When I do this, I would create both a new note and a new source at the same time. Then let's say I come back tomorrow and have read more of that book and have a new note I want to save. in this case, I am only creating a new note and am adding an existing source. Right? So that's kind of how I'm thinking about this. So then, when creating a note, I also need the ability to add a tag or tags, or select from existing tags. I think what we should do is we should make sure that we check for existing tags that are similar, and make sure that we don't create duplicate tags if someone, for example, uses capitalization for one but not the other, i.e. marketing the market. Right, I think that's going to be pretty important. So, alternatively, if instead of creating a source alongside a note, you may want to create sources independently. Each source should have a title, a source type, i.e. this is the type of media it is, such as an article, a YouTube video, tweet, etc. Should have a source type, title, source type, publication or channel, i.e. it could be a newspaper or a YouTube channel. A description, a summary, the source, optional publication date. Right, so you can have these sources. Now, can sources also be tagged? I'm not sure yet if we should also be able to tag sources independently of notes. Right. Then, alright, so we've got our notes, we've got our sources. If we go back here, we're not going to talk about the AI functionality just yet. Yeah, this merging of notes is going to be important. So come here, not here. So we need to do the merging of notes and splitting of notes. Before we do that, we will then have a dashboard to view our notes and a dashboard to view our sources. For notes, we should be able to filter by created date, tag, source type. For sources, we should be able to filter by source type, created date, channel, and if we tags as well. Then obviously need the ability to edit and delete notes. Notes. Actually, before we get to that, for notes, when they are so Zettelkasten have this idea of fleeting notes to project notes, and they also have literature notes. I don't want to do literature notes. I think that's kind of compartmentalizing too much. But what I do like is the idea. So fleeting notes, handwritten notes to be discarded after being recast for inclusion into permanent notes, right? I kind of like that idea. So in the normal Zettelkasten casting system, there is a concept of fleeting notes and permanent notes. I want to create a similar concept where when a note is first created, its level of importance is less until the point at which the user commits it to their permanent knowledge base. The value of this is that when we later incorporate AI into our system, we can give greater weight to permanent notes when recounting back to the user their understanding of a topic. Alright, actually, similar to this, we need a way to expire a note if a user's understanding of a topic has now changed. When a note is expired, we should offer the user the ability to add context, i.e. This will be another field in our note module on why they no longer hold that view or have updated it. This could also then link to a new note that holds their updated view. So imagine if over here in this example, right, you read this book and it's like eat 1 gram of protein per kilo body weight, and then you might then later on read another book that says eat 1.2 grams. Maybe that's not enough to kind of shift your permanent belief of that topic, and you're happy to kind of go, hey, 1 to 1.2 grams. Now let's just say, instead of this being like 1 gram, let's say this is like 1.8 to 2 grams, because there's been some new research that's come out, or maybe this YouTube video, probably a bad example because it's a YouTube video, but let's just say this YouTube video is by a professor of exercise science, and you're like, okay, I give more credence to their knowledge because they're referencing scientific studies, whereas maybe these podcasts or this book was just written by some normal gym junkie. So then you might want to expire that note and update the link to the updated note that holds your permanent knowledge or updated knowledge. So we also need the ability to edit and delete notes, as well as change the source. Yeah, as well as change the source of the note. Let's just say you write the source wrong, you want to change that. Okay, so then we also have to talk about the merging and splitting of notes. Let's think about merging notes. Would you merge notes? You could merge notes. I also think ability to merge notes would be interesting. Let's say you read. Why would you merge notes? I'm just thinking, say you read 2 topics that suggest the same point. You then start to move away from the Zettelkasten system because each note is not one source, but it's the same point. Maybe you have 2 sources. So let's say you read information about a topic from book A and create a note. Later, you read similar information from book B and create a note that is almost identical. If you merge these notes, you should now be able to see both sources for that knowledge on the new combined note. Then we should say equally, once a note is merged, it can be split out again if you want to have the knowledge on 2 separate cards, notes where each source is independently mentioned. Alright, Then on our dashboard of sources, I think it would be interesting to also show the user statistics from where their knowledge is coming from. I.e., we could show stats on the most common source type, most common source. So I think that's kind of interesting, and this should be filterable by tag. We don't know if we need tags. So imagine if you, creating a lot of these notes, it would be interesting to be able to go, hey, like most of my notes is coming from YouTube videos. Maybe even show the distribution of where a user's knowledge is coming from. So if a user sees 70% of their notes are sourced from YouTube videos, they may then actively choose to read more books about the topic, so that they have a more even distribution of knowledge. So the thought process here is like, if you, not to get political or controversial, but if people continue to get knowledge from just one source, you can kind of go down that rabbit hole and you can kind of become boxed into your thinking. So maybe for people who are interested in that, knowing, hey, on this topic, even if it's something non-controversial, actually, like even if we stick with our kind of exercise example here, imagine all of these are YouTube videos rather than books and YouTube videos and podcasts, and then you look in your knowledge base and you're like, wow, 80% of my notes are coming from YouTube videos, and 90% of those notes from YouTube videos are coming from one YouTuber. Now you might be like, hang on, maybe I'm getting a little bit pigeonholed in my thinking because all I'm hearing is from this one person and they're saying this. I need to kind of broaden my horizons. That's the thought process there. So what we're going to do, come to a new chat, we'll go preview, and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to tell ChatGPT, I am building a new application, Node.js and React. I am looking to use the Zettelkasten system as inspiration to build a personal knowledge bank application. Below are some of the notes have on its proposed functionality. Can you please help me identify where I may have gaps in my thinking, as well as where there could be other important functions or considerations when creating this app, both from a user as well as a technical perspective. I do, however, want to keep this to quiet and straightforward MVP. So if you have lots of suggestions, perhaps split out what you think should be included in an MVP versus future iterations of the idea. So never done this with ChatGPT, kind of prompted and asked for ideas on what to build. So let's see what it comes back with. I think from our kind of thought process so far, we've got a pretty good understanding of where we want to go. Obviously, we haven't mentioned things like the AI summarization yet, but okay. So how wouldn't notes be linked by thanks for your insight. I was thinking that note one, I was thinking that notes would be linked by tags and sources. Are there other ways you think should be linking notes together. Actually, I think we should also have a tab on each note that allows us to see related notes. So let's just add this here in case we lose track of it. Each note could have a tab that allows us to see related notes. Related notes would be prioritized by common source, followed by a common tag, followed by related tags. How do we relate tags is the question. How do we relate tags? Yeah, we'll definitely have search. 4.3, yes, we will have search. 4.4, yes, we will have user accounts and auth. Export notes, I don't think we really need to do that. Version control for notes. 4.6, yes, I think version control of notes is good, but this won't be an MVP feature. Okay, I also really wanted you to think about the user's perspective and what else they might expect. Alrighty, let's just do that. Right. Okay. Cool. Just looking. So, how users? Do you want to allow users to link specifically between nodes? I'm not sure. Let's how notes Yeah. Oh, they can. Wow, it's quite a lot here. Okay, so let's look at this side by side. So what we're going to say, great, let's add the following functionality to our idea. For linking, let's update it so a user can create a parent tag and then children tags. A user, that way, see all notes in a broader parent category as well as the sub children categories. A user should then be able to directly link one note to another. We will still keep the linking by tags. In the future, we can leverage AI to also group tags, group notes, based on their context of general theme. Related notes. Yes, to achieve this functionality, we will need a related notes tab to display this information. Actually, also here, I also like the idea of sequential links. So if a user has multiple notes from one source, they can follow their chain of thinking. We've done that. Yes. Tagging. Yes, the ability to merge tags is a good one. The ability to delete tags and reassign to another tag is good. Tag suggestions and autocomplete is good. Tag merging is good. Bulk tag editing is good. Yes, sources. Yes, a user should be able, without a source, they could later show, they could later add note. We could also show the dashboard all notes without sources. Perhaps we also show a warning that if a user tries to commit a permanent tag to their permanent note to their knowledge base, metadata. Yes, we should ensure that's interesting, gap analysis. yes, that's interesting. Sentiment and tone analysis. We don't need that. Okay. Based on all of this and the original provided, please now summarize your understanding of our application. All right, I think we're making quite a bit of good progress here. So, AI has definitely helped us identify a few things that we hadn't quite considered. It suggested quite a few good ideas, definitely around like the tag management. I also like the idea of this knowledge gap analysis. I like the idea of pointing out how your thought process of topics has changed over time. So maybe even like using this example here, you might have, hey, in January 2024, your understanding of protein consumption for muscle gain is, to eat 1 gram per kilo, per kilo body weight. By December 2024, your understanding of this had changed to a minimum of, 1.8, based on, these sources that you've read. That's quite interesting. So let's just have a look here at this. So note creation, create notes, add one later. Yep. Most important, permanent notes. Yep. Yep. Merging, splitting. Yep. Oh, this is cool. User journeys. What do you think about this app overall? Is there anything we are really missing? Okay, thanks. Okay. So let's ask ChatGPT to create user stories for all of this, and then after that, we're going to ask ChatGPT to break down all of like the kind of functionality that we need to create in our app and the order in which we should do it. Awesome. Now, based on this, please detail all of the functionality I will need to code, including important considerations, and provide the order in which I should build out this application so I can test and iterate as I go. You do not need to cover user registration and authentication, as I have already done. Come on. Alright. Before diving in, it's critical data model. Yep. So note, ID, title, body, tags, source, status, created at, update at, is expired, expiration, content, link nodes, sequential links. Source. Probably won't have enums because they might change. Okay, so node creation, form to input title body. Edit. Okay, that is what I was kind of after. Yeah, this is kind of what I was after. Okay, great. I agree with the order, but I also, for now, am just focused on the back end. Can you please provide an ordered list of all of the types of API endpoints I need to create, and any considerations or feature needs I need to be aware of when creating them. So basically what I want is I just want, you know, all the different API endpoints we're going to be building, and we can go through that logically. Pardon me. Alright, so yeah, create a note, get all notes, get note by ID, update note, delete note, tagging system, create tag, get tags, assign tags, remove tags, autocomplete tags, source management, create a source, get all sources, get source by ID, update source, delete source, assign source to note, yep. Advanced note features, update note status, get notes without sources, implement search functionality, yep. Tag management, merge tags, delete tags, linking, link notes, dashboard and visualization, filters, knowledge base, no expiration emerging, perfect. General considerations. So this is definitely the information that I was after. So I'm just going to copy and paste this in here so I've got access to that ChatGPT chat. And in the coming videos, what we're going to do is we're going to actually start building this out. Yeah, so we've got our user stories. Maybe one more thing. Okay, great. Can you now create a table that has the user story as well as the required functionality and API endpoint? Come on. All right, here we go. Perfect. So what we can now do is we're going to be able to copy and paste this, and we're going to be able to work through this quite logically with the application. Obviously, from a starting point of view, once we've got our models built or set up, we're just going to do this logically. Creating a node. Let's make sure that functionality works. Creating sources. Let's make sure that functionality works. Because I think the lesson that we've learned from writing a huge amount of code so far with AI is that we need to be very granular, we need to be very specific, and we need to work in a sequential and logical order in order to avoid a lot of the challenges that I've run into with creating the initial kind of backend for user registration and authentication. So we're going to use this as our guide. I think it's pretty comprehensive. Obviously, as we go through it, we may notice some gaps, we may notice some other features that we want to add, and we can obviously do that. And yeah, so let me copy and paste this. Hopefully it copies and pastes quite nicely into Notion. It did, fantastic. And this is going to be our source of truth. So I'm going to wrap the video there. I hope you found that insightful and saw how we could potentially use AI to help prompt us when it comes to thinking about a new application we're building, and then identify some of the gaps. And it's also given us a really good starting point to think about how we're going to build this functionality. So thanks again for watching. Catch you in the next video where hopefully we can start working on some of this.